Thank you for joining in today for this episode of The Advocate, a production of the American Society for Gastrointestinal Endoscopy that informs physicians and patients on emerging healthcare topics impacting GI. ASG represents over 14,000 gastroenterologists worldwide and is the leading voice for GI endoscopy.
Hey everybody, and welcome to ASGE The Advocate. I'm your host and ASG Governing Board Counselor, Walter Park. Today's episode will focus on mid-career changes, and we are honored to have as our guest, Dr. Prabhleen Chahal. Dr. Chahal is an advanced endoscopist with the Cleveland Clinic. She's been a course director for ASG's first-year fellows course and annual postgraduate course, and is a member of ASG's newly formed Advanced Endoscopy Committee. Dr. Chahal, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Walter. Thank you, ASG, for having me.
So this is a really intriguing topic, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation. So maybe we should just kick off, and let me just ask you, what is a mid-career professional?
Great question to start this off, Walter. So I'm somebody, I think, who will qualify as mid-career. So if we go to the US Office of Personnel Management website, they'll indicate a mid-career professional is someone who has more than 10 years of professional experience. So if we assume a person's career span is 35 to 40 years, mid-career is between 10 to 25 years of professional life. So I've been practicing 14 years, so I'm clearly somebody mid-career.
So that makes me a mid-career professional too, and that makes the two of us. So perhaps that's why this topic is resonating with me, but then it clarifies that a second-year fellow can't call themselves a mid-career professional then.
Correct.
True to form, okay.
They want to, but they cannot.
Not widely accepted, sure. Okay, well, so then, this is interesting. It's almost like the professional equivalent of a midlife crisis, I suppose. Let's talk about then what is mid-career? Why are we talking about mid-career professionals? I would guess that we're speaking to some level of discontent or mid-career blahs.
Yes, that's correct. I think most of us, and I can speak from my own experience, mid-career blahs or discontent or malaise, we do experience that, which is like protracted feeling of discontent, where we start questioning meaning and purpose of our job, lack of fulfillment from our daily job and position at work. Mid-career people, you start questioning when you come to work, is this the right place? Is this the right job? Am I working with the right people? So most of us, when we're in mid-career, we are either in our late 40s or early 50s. And we start realizing, well, we don't have infinite amount of time and we don't have infinite opportunities. And that's where, this mid-career questioning of our work and the meaning and purpose around it starts arising.
Yeah, I think it gets to the point of some people will quip and say that our careers are marathons and it's not a sprint, and perhaps we're in mile 10 of sorts, and just trying to figure out whether we're on the right race.
That's true, absolutely.
So maybe you can speak a little bit about your own personal experience with it, and then we can kind of dive into some reflections on what you think. How do we go from here? So maybe you can share a little bit about your own mid-career questions or experiences.
So I think, all of us who trained in advanced endoscopy, when we graduated 14 years ago, all these advanced interventional endoscopic procedures or bariatric endoscopies or ESG skills, et cetera, they were not around. We were not trained in this. We were all trained in either, ERCP or endoscopic ultrasound, and some of us just in one or the other. And I was trained in both 14 years, practicing that for 10 years. And after that, when you see all these new techniques and technology evolving, you become excellent, you become master of the procedures that you've been doing for 10 years. And then you want to rejuvenate, you want to feel re-energized. And that's what I felt, after practicing for 10 years or so, that you look for more joy, you look for more meaning and purpose. What more can I offer to my patient? So I did take sabbatical. I took a few weeks off. I was really grateful to my colleagues and my institution who supported, the department who supported me, my family who supported me. And I was able to go and learn all the advanced interventional EUS procedures. And I was able to bring that skill set back and offer that to our patients, gallbladder drainages, biliary bypasses, gastrojejunostomies, etc. So it not only brought, energy in my practice, but I was able to create this niche and offer to our patients, and also brings along new research opportunities and collaboration. So that was my, journey with this part.
Wow, so some might question whether a sabbatical really is only a few weeks, but I guess
well, that's true.
But it sounds like you took advantage in your particular situation. You used this to learn new skill sets and take on new challenges.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the key. If somebody is going through mid-career question, challenges, blahs or malaise, it's not easy to shake things up. Yes, I took a few weeks off, but when you think and put other sacrosanct things in perspective, things that you have to consider, your family, your spouse's job, kids in school, college, bills, mortgage, finances, it's not easy to make a huge transition right away. So I think the key is to have a growth mindset. You're open to continuous learning, you're open to pushing the boundaries. And again, it's important to reflect. For me, I thought about it. What is that I'm missing in my job? Why am I feeling that? Is it my job? You have to think, is it the job or is it the organization or the culture you're working in? If it is the job, is the monotony of the job? Can small incremental changes make a difference for you? Start small. For example, if you can focus on education, act as a researcher or a mentor, taking up a new research project, asking for more flexible hours. I think if the small incremental changes can help with this, increasing your job satisfaction, start with that. And of course, if it's an organizational or if it's a cultural thing, that requires a bigger transition. I give you an example, my personal example. One of my other colleagues, they took up an expansive course in acupuncture. And our institution they supported my colleague. She passed the board, and now she has started an acupuncture clinic, which is again a niche she created for herself. Again, I think speaking with your leadership, asking them for opportunities for growth, promotion, or even lateral move. You have to assess what kind of skill set you have, do the SWOT analysis, right? What are the strengths that I have? What are my weaknesses? What are the opportunities and what are the threats? And based on what you think your strengths are, apply for any positions internally. And it doesn't have to be within the department. I think a lot of us, we focus on promotion or leadership opportunities within the department, but I would encourage people to reach out to institutional leadership. There are opportunities for serving your institutions, to reach out to them, share them what your strengths are and how you can serve. Being proactive, I think, being creative. And I think if somebody is looking to make a big transition, a big career move, that's when you need to have a transition action plan. You have to think about real world, as I talk about. Think about your spouse, kids, the financial part of it. If it's a big commitment that you're undertaking, for example, you want to do MBA, that's a couple years investment along with money. So you have to know what skills you have, what skills you want to acquire for the job that you're looking, updating your resume, leveraging your networking, conducting informational interviews, and then just going for the formal thing.
Well, that's a eloquent and comprehensive description of all the things one should consider doing in order to address one's mid-career professional stagnation. What are some things that, upon further reflection, are perhaps don'ts or things you should try to avoid while navigating these waters?
Yeah, no, excellent question, Walter. I think the most important would be complacency. I would say don't be complacent and don't wait for opportunities, right? Again, I think if you introspect and reflect, we can figure out what my strengths are. What am I good at? What do I find easy that other may find difficult or challenging? At your job, what are the things that you can do to improve efficiency? What are the things that you can do to improve quality? I think if you look at that, assess that, implement a solution, that is going to bring meaning and purpose to your work. So again, these are small incremental changes. I think being proactive and not being complacent. Don't be reactive. As I mentioned, I think some of us may get tempted to make that big dramatic change, plunk down 150 grand to buy a new car or a new house, $1 million house. I would, similarly for the job, I would say start with reflection. Make small incremental changes in your job first rather than, sudden huge transition. And then finally, I think this past year and a half especially has taught us to see what is most important to us. And we recently lost a colleague, and I know one of the things that he would often talk about is his family, his hobbies, life outside work, things that really mattered. So I think it's important to have that perspective. Don't make your work as the most important thing that controls your life.
Well said. You mentioned on several examples about the importance of reaching out and talking to leadership, perhaps internally, even externally. So it kind of begs this, it introduces the importance or raises the question of how important networking is throughout your career, something that we learn as we start our careers and become exposed to. And it's a process of career development throughout our lives. Can you speak a little bit more about the importance of networking in terms of how that can facilitate these challenges that a mid-career professional might face?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think, a lot of us, I personally found networking didn't come easily to me. That was not something that I did naturally or easily. But I think this is crucial. It's extremely important. If you look at the data, 80% of the jobs, they're never advertised. It's word of mouth that gets those job vacancies filled. So I think networking is extremely important for job opportunities, for growth, for advice, for collaboration, for sharing knowledge and ideas, and just elevating and boosting your profile. And yeah, I would also encourage, not only the traditional networking, right? I mean, you're meeting in person when you go to DDW or meetings or national meetings or webinars, networking over the telephone or electronic, but also harness the power of social media. I think have an online professional presence. All these things, they definitely help in navigating some of these mid-career changes and challenges.
Well, as I alluded to earlier, I think this is a very popular topic, particularly among those, quote, mid-career professionals, and something that I think we all can think about and relate and reflect on. It'll be interesting to see what kind of feedback we get. Do you have any final thoughts or key takeaway points from your own journey?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Walter. I think mid-career discontent is fairly common. I think if most of us, we were to sit down, introspect and reflect, we would notice that creeping in. I would encourage people to reflect, diagnose the issue, make small changes first, be proactive and creative. Don't be reactive, and have a growth mindset. As they say in life, learn it, embrace it, accept it, and apply it. And always keep in mind, what are the things that really matter to you the most? And for most of us, it's the family life outside the work. And I think this quote that I like by Maya Angelou a lot: if you learn, teach; if you get, give. So I think all of us should share the knowledge freely and selflessly. And if we are in a position to support and promote others, we should do that.
Well, thank you. My sincere thanks to Dr. Chahal today for addressing some really important issues today. And I would like to also, we're going to conclude now, and I would like to encourage everyone listening to get the COVID-19 vaccine when the opportunity is available. And from everybody at ASGE, thanks for watching, and we'll catch up with you on the next edition of ASGE The Advocate. Thanks.
Thank you so much.